with us today is Pradeep, who is an engineer, space structures engineer at Agnikul Cosmos. So Agnikul, they make rockets, right? So you could, maybe start off with, introducing yourself and your work and, the company, and, then we'll, slowly delve into what, what exactly, everything that you do encompasses.
Hello guys, so I'm Pradeep. So I'm basically working as a space structures engineer at Agnikul Cosmos. Agnikul, just to say in short, is a startup based in IIT Madras in Chennai. So what we do is we are building satellite launch vehicles. So basically it's a rocket or vehicle to launch satellites and put satellites in orbit. So similar to what many other companies like ISRO or SpaceX or NASA they do, they have their own vehicles to launch satellites into space into a particular orbit, and even we are trying to build a vehicle to do the same. So what I do as part of my job is like basically I work mainly on the structural analysis part of the vehicle. So I get to design, I get to first calculate the loads that are acting on the vehicle when it is flying in the space. Then design the structure, then analyze, and then do some experiments as well in order to validate if my analysis is correct. And then also for approvals from the government and from any other bodies, we need to show the experiments. So that's the main nature of my work.
That's actually quite interesting. And if you could help us understand, like, what is the educational background with which you reached this position, it would, clarify, to many people, what is the path to something like this.
Yeah, so basically, like building a rocket is a combination of every engineering skill. So in our company or in any other rocket building company for that matter, there are people working from every background, from electrical to electronics to mechanical to civil to aerospace, and everyone basically. So what my background is basically civil engineering. I did my civil engineering undergraduate degree from NIT Surathkal. And then I was more interested in the computational part of it. What I mean by computational part is how do I solve a differential equation, or how do I solve any equation in order to appreciate the physics, right? Or in order to how you model the physics using mathematical equations so that you can understand or predict what will happen. So I was more interested in that part. So I went on to do masters in computational mechanics in Germany, and after that I did my PhD in biomechanics. So all these are basically applications of the same basics. The basics that I learn in, say, mechanical engineering or civil engineering, the same basic knowledge that I apply for uh, different problem, different physics, different nature problem. So now the same background knowledge that I'm applying for building the rockets as well, because rockets, as you all would know, that it works on Newton's third law, and we need the same basic physics. Which I used for, say, building a bridge. It also depends on Newton's third law because it has to transfer all the forces to the ground. So it's the same concept that we use for here. So with the same basic knowledge, I'm just applying it for different fields of engineering.
Wow, that sounds very cool. And could you go on to describe, what are the interesting things in your line of work, right? And especially when you talk about computer modeling and all that, what are the interesting? I mean, by work, I don't mean only what you currently work in, but maybe what you did during your PhD also, all the interesting problems and aspects of, both your PhD and your work. You can, if you can highlight, it will be great.
So as I said, I was interested mainly in the computational modeling part. So by computational modeling, I also mentioned briefly about solving the differential equations, right? So it's not possible all the time to write my own set of codes to solve the differential equation. So people use some commercial softwares which are already existing, and they can be used for different physics or multi-physics problems. So and in a general term, it's called as simulation. So the simulations have been used or is being used to uh, avoid experiments altogether as such. So one of the famous examples or how all this simulation started was mainly from the automobile sector. So what happens is, like, you might have seen some crash simulations of a car that they have to do in order to show the rating of the car. So if the rating is below a certain standard, then they don't approve the car from the policy level, so that they don't come on the road. For that, so either you have to do an experiment where you will be actually demolishing a car, but that experiment, if you're doing it say 100 times in order to improve a car, it's so inefficient, right? You will be wasting a lot of money, you will be wasting a lot of human power and everything. So instead, what we do is we build a model of the car in a computer and then do the same test, so that we'll know how the car behaves if I do this experiment actually on ground. So using this computer simulations, I can predict how the car would behave and therefore rectify the problems that are in the car, and then upgrade the model and then do the experiment at once and the final stage, so that to prove and get the certifications. So similarly, now this computer model can also be applied for different problems. So what I did in my PhD was applying the same concept for a biological problem. So just to give a brief background of my problem there was, so you all know human body or any living being for that matter is made of cells, and these cells are the fundamental units for the whole living organism to work, right? So in a human body, if you consider, we have something called skeleton, and this skeleton, as you might know, is what keeps you on ground, or it's the framework for the whole body. Similarly, even cells will have its own framework, and it's called a cytoskeleton, and this is called cytoskeleton because it keeps changing its shape according to how it experiences a stimulus. So cells respond for a stimulus. So this is an interesting problem because it's the same concept of how we respond, and this response comes from a cell. So if I can write a mathematical equation for how the cells respond, then I can predict how the cell would respond if I apply a different force, right? So this can be used in order to predict many diseases. I mean, it's not a straightforward, but this can be used in a larger context to predict many diseases, for example, cancer or heart diseases. And there have been many instances where this modeling has been used by doctors in order to predict in advance, okay, this person might be infected with this some in later. And this has also nowadays being coupled with artificial intelligence in order to know how different people would behave in a different category and vice versa. So that's one of the beautiful advantages or applications of computational modeling. And right now what we are doing is also again using some commercial software in order to analyze all the forces that acts on a vehicle such as a rocket that goes in different so initially you will be in atmosphere, then you were out of atmosphere, so the loads are different. Once there is wind and at another point there is nothing, it's like super low temperature. And here when it is going at high speed, there will be very high temperature on the vehicle. So it's very difficult to do this experiment. So this is where the interesting part of the simulations come in. So I can do all this test in span of like minutes or days. So that's the beauty of simulations that we do.
Wow, that encompasses a lot of things. And it seems like a very useful skill to also understand, right? I mean, to have to be able to do some computer modeling or simulation. Uh, Same techniques can be applied to biology, to space, to mechanical engineering problems and civil problems and many things. So it's a very useful thing to have, because it's
Yeah.
like they say, a transferable skill. And not only a skill, it's also knowledge, right? That can be used to solve many problems. And at the end of the day, that's what engineers do. They solve problems. Yeah, so that was very interesting. um, so could you talk more about now your work itself, and the relevance of your field in your industry and in the larger scheme of things in the world. If you could highlight that, that will be very interesting.
So what ISA said, like we are working on building a satellite launch vehicle, and you might, I mean, we use or the usage of satellites have been well known to every one of us these days, because we use smartphones, we use internet, and we need a lot of satellites, right? Like we know we can predict weather because there are a lot of weather satellites which are giving us information every moment. So in this scheme of things, when there are few people in the world who says humans have to be interplanetary, and they say, oh, the internet has to be given to every part of the world, and for that we need a lot of satellites. So there is a huge demand for the satellites to be in orbit in order for the humans to grow themselves as such, so to make humans live comfortably and to make humans equal throughout the world. So in this regard, we need more rockets which can launch satellites into the particular orbit that is needed for the particular purpose. So this is where we contribute to the whole society, I would say.
Okay, that is a very interesting point. So you say that all these fancy long term kind of goals that some people say, like settling on different planets, uh,
Mhm.
is not as important as or as immediate as satellites are. You're saying that satellites are one of the most useful and important things right now, and
Yeah. I mean, like that's how we understand how we go into space, first of all. So that, like, we send something into space, then we send, like, how ISRO has been doing. So initially it launched a satellite. Now, because ISRO has learned, over the years they have learned how to deal with space. So now they are planning to launch humans into space, and probably they might even send humans to moon at one point. So it's a learning curve. So initially we all should know how to deal with space initially, and then go ahead.
yeah, that is actually very important. You can't just aim to go to the moon in the first shot, right? Problems in
Yes.
space tech are so complex and such big problems that you first need to solve the first step, which is probably sending a satellite and launching a satellite and being able to control it and do various things like that. So then speaking about all this, um, what can you talk about how maybe looking at the current situation, um, how your industry and your work is helping
Hmm.
COVID-19 situation, right? The pandemic. Is there any way that your industry or your line of work is helping in COVID-19 situation in the world right now?
Yes.
Or is it
When
indirectly or directly helping? If you could speak a little bit, I think that would be very helpful for us.
when you say my line of work, I don't know whether to talk only what we are doing right now, or something before that as well. But probably it's so when I have my colleagues, when I was doing my PhD, I have colleagues who are working on virology, where they study virus and how they behave to certain environments. So they used to grow virus in lab on different surfaces, in order to understand which surface helps virus to grow better. So whether it's one of the examples was whether it was like they used to coat a surface with a smooth material, so that on top of the smooth material, whether they grow faster, or compared to if it's a rough material, for example. So that kind of work was always, or even before, there were few people who were working on developing computational models for this, and some people were doing the experiments. So now we still don't know how COVID or the virus will coronavirus will propagate. So whether it's easy to propagate in air, whether it's easy for the virus to propagate on a hard material or something like that. So this is where the group that I was working with earlier, they are working on that right now as well, because it would be an application of what they do, because it's basic science that we used to do there, and now it's an application of basic science to a particular virus of this like called corona. So that's where computation models have helped. And right now I was because I'm in Bangalore right now, so I got to know a news recently that so in all the propulsions, in all the engines, we have something called where the jet or the fuel comes out, and so it's a sprinkler kind of mechanism. And one of the professors from IIT Madras, so he has actually or the he has collaborated with the local government there in Chennai, and they have developed a tunnel for sprinkling all the disinfectants basically. So it has been set up in different parts of Chennai right now, and people or even all the frontline workers, they are made to go through this tunnel, so they are disinfected from all the risks. So this is where like when we think, so okay, this can be done only for big only for say something like a space, but this has also been applied to something that's causing harm to whole humanity right now.
That's actually some great applications right there, and different what do you say, different problems solved in different industries can be cross applied to other industries, right? Now also, I think yesterday I was seeing a video of Tesla engineers basically repurposing car parts to create a ventilator, and they've successfully done it. It's a different matter whether they will deploy it in hospitals and things like that. Maybe they will, because considering they did all this in 2 weeks, they built an ventilator from car parts. They might as well be able to get an operational ventilator out in the hospital. So this is some great application.
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
and coming back to the space industry itself, if somebody wants to get into the space industry, um, or maybe even simulation. So I guess my question has two parts. One is space industry, and the second is simulations and computer modeling. If any student wants to enter these fields, what do you recommend they do? Like, where do they start at least, so that yeah, they can get some experience and then continue to
Sure.
understand it.
I mean, nowadays, most of the companies, the nature of the job in most of the companies is multidisciplinary. So whether you go for a oil and natural gas company or a space company, like so, for example, our company or ISRO or any big companies, they don't take only say aerospace engineers, or they don't go, even oil and natural gas, they don't go for only for petroleum engineers. They need engineers or someone, even if they're not engineers, someone who is like really interested in that field and who knows a bit, like who is, because that person has a lot of interest, so definitely he or she would have studied or read a lot about it. So with that interest and background, they can definitely convince anyone saying that okay, I'm definitely fit for this role, for example. And the interest itself will take them in whatever discipline that they want to pursue. So when it comes to computational, I can be more specific, because that's how I got into. So space is because I was like really interested in this, so that's how I came into space. So I can talk more into computations, because so for computations, mainly what someone has to be interested in is mathematics, and an interest to solve these mathematical equations through computer programming. So like there are a lot of engineers whom I know, they will directly go and learn some commercial package without understanding what is happening behind it, which definitely will give the answer. But at one point, if it to check or to satisfy ourselves whether that answer is right or wrong, we need to know how it works behind it. So if someone is interested in this, then I would say interest in maths and interest in at least a little bit of programming these equations to solve those equations, that would definitely be the first step. And after that, it's just your interest in which field you want to apply these. So for example, like the basic equation, right? Like first order equation can be applied for how the drug goes inside the body when you inject something, to solving like a pendulum problem, for example. So there is a huge scope of application for even for simple equations. So it's just an interest in which field you want to apply that equation, and then you can take it further.
Okay, that's definitely useful to know. But how much is only interest, sufficient? Sometimes don't you need good mentors and guides for, being able to successfully learn and break through into a new field? So, how important is having good mentors and guides for this purpose?